All right. Huh? Bubba, I started it before your comment got there. Oh, good midday. I've been informed that it's midday. It's not morning, it's not day, it's not afternoon, it's not mid-afternoon. It's just midday. Yeah, good win last night. How you guys doing? Julian, Nintendo, Bubba's in the house. Good, solid. Yeah, exactly. You were great last night, Bubba. Exact. Good evening. That's not too bad either. Well, we'll have good evening a little bit later on tonight. We got to do this all over again in 6 hours. I think the game is at 7:30, right? So I guess that would mean we go live at 7 o'clock. So I love it, man. That was now, losing the lead with 40 seconds left. That's not my favorite thing to do. But when you consider the reaction from the, in quotes, hockey world, if you consider, how much grief and aggravation they're giving the Panthers for being dirty, you guys, if you saw the video I put out earlier this morning, it was a sweet 2 points. It was an absolute sweet 2 points. Hey, Vincent. Yeah, Bubba. Stolar is going to play tonight, I would assume. Colin, in terms of Sam Iskevich, um, probably not. Probably not. That doesn't mean I want him to go back. Okay. Um, but being that it's timed out with the All-Star break right now, it's probably not going to surprise me. I think he'll play tonight. I don't think you'll see Lockwood back tonight unless they put him in for Gadjevich. But I think that you'll probably see Sam Iskevich go back, and maybe he makes it up again. Um, I'm not a hockey analytical guy, so I don't know. I don't know what the charts mean, but apparently somebody on Twitter has the charts, and I guess Sam Iskevich has been at the bottom of the charts for the last two games. Now, there's one thing the kid is ready for. It's making passes to get the puck moving to drive play. Um, I think any other team in any other position he might get an opportunity, but considering Maurice, considering the depth that we have, et cetera, I'm hopeful that he stays, but I'm pretty sure that he's going to get sent back. Bubba says we're going to have our own core four in 2 years. Reinhardt, Barkov, Verhage. Chat went. The chat went. Let's see. Verhage, Barkov, Kachuk, and Reinhardt, each making 9 to 10 million. Well, Barkov, yes. Kachuk, yes. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough to argue against that. I don't know if Reinhardt's going to get 9 or close to it. You know what I mean? What do you think he's going to get, Nintendo? Swaggy would make 10 million a year with a Western Conference team. That's true, but he'd also have to pay like 30% of that in taxes too, right? Nintendo says getting 40 goals and 30 assists doesn't get you 9 million. Well, I mean, what about 60? How many what's Reinhardt got right now? And I know you don't want to pay him based on just 1 year. Let's see. I think what's going to help us, and I've said this before, I think what's going to help us with Reinhardt, he's got 36 goals and 25 assists. So odds are he's going to get 50 goals and 40 assists. And that still might only be 90 points. So 8.5, something like that. We'll see how that works out. Vincent says Mackey must score to stay per Maurice, but what I see is he's a Rodriguez replacement. Interesting. So is that what Maurice actually, I didn't get a chance to watch the post game. Hurlem says, I heard someone compare Erod to a largemouth bass, and I can't unsee. He's all right. He's a good kid. He's a good kid. Yeah, Reinhardt kills penalties too. 7 for Swaggy? I don't know how you're going to get away with that. I don't know, man. He's going to have had 40 goals, multiple years in a row at that point. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, Vincent. No, we agree, Vincent. That's what's going to force Maurice's hand. He's got it. He's got to get a goal, maybe a goal and an assist. If he could give like give a great assist to Barkov and then get a goal on himself, that might make it happen. Baba Mark says, I just watched the Saw fans video. Hilarious. I appreciate that. I woke up in a mood this morning. It doesn't happen all the time. Like those videos I do in the morning like that is in a rare mood. Like the last one that I really, really got into a mood and ranted in front of the camera like that at that point in the morning. That was the day I predicted the Kachuk trade because I was pissed off at people for saying that they were going to trade Anton Lundell for Kachuk. So apparently when I get pissed off, I'm able to string a couple sentences coherently together, right? Yeah, Vincent. Yeah, I know. Tippett got paid. What, 6 times 8 or 8 times 6? Kyle gave it to me. Was it? But I didn't see it. Was it 6 years at 8 million or 8 years at 6 million? I hadn't got a chance to see it. He texted me. He said it was 6 by 8, but I wasn't sure which way was which. And I hadn't got a chance to watch anything yesterday. Yeah, exactly. I had the same feeling last night, like we were safe. Well, if you watch the recap, in the second period, I put my mouth ahead of where my money was, and I basically said that the Penguins were going to regret picking a fight with us, and we were going to win that game. I normally don't quite get that cocky about things, so I'm glad it ended up the way it did because it would have looked pretty stupid otherwise. Lewis says, when would it be the best time to renegotiate with Reinhart? I feel more we wait. Right. No, they're in the middle of negotiating now, Lewis. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, to see something happen during the All-Star break or right afterwards, because we've got too many other contracts that we have to know what's Reinhart getting, because we got Montour if we're going to keep him. We got Forsling. We got Lundell. You need to extend guys like Lomberg, right? OEL, Stenlin needs a contract. So you need to start with Reinhart and see what's left so you know what you can give some of these other guys. Hey, Lucas, Rats on the Ice is here. Thanks, bud. He says, on my way to New York to see the Panthers. All right. Fantastic. Glad to see you, buddy. How you doing? I hope you're doing good. Vince is 8 year at 6.2. Okay. Yeah, so then that's okay, right? I mean, that's one of those deals with Tippett where it might be a little bit of an overpay right now, but it could be a bargain if he continues to progress the way he's progressing, right? I mean, this is what? His 5th year, but it's only he had the 1 year, he played a couple games in 44. I think this is his 5th or 6th season. If he continues to progress, the $6 million will be a bargain. Jeffrey says, also just watched your video from this morning. Love your take on soft hockey fans, but disagree with your take on Taylor Swift and vaccinations. I can't help. Hey, look, if somebody wants to get vaccinated, they can get vaccinated. I think it's cringe to have an NFL football player get paid millions of dollars to do a vaccination commercial. That's the point. The point isn't about the vaccination. The point is about having stars promote vaccinations. That to me is cringe and doesn't belong anywhere, to be honest with you. And it just so happens that Kelsey put himself in that position. He's low-hanging fruit. James says, Reinhart wants to stay. I'm confident he'll take a team-friendly deal. Yeah, I agree with you there. Bubba says, trade Montour and 3 firsts for Bubble Cage Bedard, right? Yeah, exactly, Colin. We got to pay Reinhart first, and everything else will go down. We'll go down. Could I see anyone taking a pay cut to keep the main squad intact? The only one I think that would be even told they would need to take a pay cut to stick around could be Ekblad. I could be completely off my rocker there, but he's so very animate, about staying in South Florida and everything like that. That I don't think he's going to be getting a raise. You know what I mean? I don't think he's going to be getting a raise. Hey, Facebook, how you doing, buddy? I can't see who it is, but I appreciate you saying I'm the GOAT. And Trey says this team stinks. I got you. Trey's man. Vincent says Rhino's fair deal is around $8 million for Hagee. He's just a goal scorer. He's pretty much useless. So I don't know if he's useless. That's a bit harsh, Vincent. That's a bit harsh. He does what he needs to do. He fills this role, and he's not exactly an assist guy. You know what I mean? But he doesn't hurt us defensively. He does his back check, forecheck job that we need him to do. Hey, Jackson. Trey says the Everblades are wearing the Panthers colored jerseys tonight. They just made a post showing them on Facebook, and they're sweet. I appreciate you sent me that text the other day. The colors were sweet, man. Hey, William. Hi, I appreciate that, buddy. How you doing, guys? All right, I got to get comfortable. I need to stretch my legs out. Getting a little bit. Exactly. That's what I think, Colin. Verhaeghe does his job well for the team. He's Mr. Clutch, and that's exactly the right. Verhaeghe's Mr. Clutch. I mean, yeah, he may not be the assist guy, but I mean, he strikes fear into the other teams, right? When you see Verhaeghe in between the circles and he's starting to slide over and he's got that puck, if they give him room, man, it's just deadly. It's just deadly. Oh, you sent me the hat? Oh, yeah, no, you sent me the hat. Yeah. William, it's not me. It's just Kyle. It's just Kyle. I can't make it down. I probably will not be. Oh, hold on a second. I won't be down until after the dogs are no longer here. Just put too fine a point on it. There's too much care. They're older now. He can't even get up. Like, he's wagging his tail at me. He can't even get up one step without me lifting him up. You know what I mean? Once he's up, he's walking around and he's his normal personality self and everything like that. But I can't leave him in anybody's care but my own. So that's where that is with that. Kenneth says if Reinhart takes $8 million, it'll be a short-term deal. Otherwise, can't see it. And pretty sure Panthers want him long-term. Well, I think, and I've said this before, I was going to say it, but I got distracted. The fact that he's been getting 6.5 all this time helps. You know what I mean? It's not like he's going. It's not like where like Bennett or Verhaeghe would have been getting like 4, right? And now they like, this is the only time I'm going to get paid. You know what I mean? Reinhart kind of got paid-ish already, right? Look at Tippett's deal. I mean, think of it that way. Reinhart's been making more money than Tippett just got for a long-term deal. So that I think that's going to play into it, that he kind of already got, that's not 6.5 is not exactly a bridge deal. You know what I mean? He's been making good money. So I think that's going to help us keep that cost down a little bit. What's chance to seeing Kyle on TV during the Panthers and Lightning game? Never know. I would tell him to bring a flag or something like that or make a sign, but he'd probably tell me no. he probably wouldn't like that idea. So James says, and this is the other point. Yeah, the thing about Reinhart is he was in Buffalo, so he knows what it's like not to be on a winning team. No offense to Buffalo. Exactly. Yeah, Trey, the dogs make it tough to travel. Even Minus Harden, he's not old. He's just crazy, so he can't be bored with other dogs. And boarding him basically costs the same as getting him a hotel. Yep. Yeah, Vincent. I think it's going to be 8 years, and it's going to be somewhere between $8 million and under what Kachuk makes, right? Which my point on the podcast is how long can it take? What's the holdup? How long can it take to negotiate between 8 and 9.5 million. What is Zito trying to pull? I mean, on one hand, I say that. On the other hand, I look at our cap situation and I realize every $100,000 is kind of important when you get on the podcast this past week. Was it this week? I don't know if it was this week. It might have been, or it might have been the end of last week. I did a breakdown on the cap somewhat in 2 years because we all talking about this year. But next year, the same conversation that we're having this year about Reinhardt, Montour, and Forsling, next year that conversation is about Bennett, Verhaeghe, and Ekblad. So it's every $100,000. That from that perspective, I do understand it, right? Vince says last time it was a long negotiation too. It'll be fine. Hey, let's go, Fins. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate that. Hey, Nick, how you doing? Paul says, I love the Enough video. Yeah, I had a feeling that one might, I'm not trying to ruffle feathers. You know what I mean? It just came out. It just came out how I said it. You know what I mean? It is what it is, right? But no, look, it was satisfying getting that win last night because, man, you can't. I mean, I know it was in Pittsburgh, but you can't have all those penalties and you kill off all the penalties. You only allow the one goal, and then you let them score at 40 seconds left, and it just would have been the ass kicking we would have taken online had we not gotten the 2 points. You know, it's one thing they call us dirty. It's another thing if they say you're dirty and you lost too, because apparently a lot of people were watching that game last night. Bolvar says, just want to thank you guys for helping me get through my dad's emergency ER trip. Although it's not been resolved, I'm no longer stressed. I appreciate it. Hey, anything, Bolvar, anything you guys need, you know how that goes, man. All you guys know, if you need something, you just email me. I do my best to get back to you. If it's important, I get back quick. Right? Ain't that right, Nick? Right? Nick could not hear me. Nick could not hear from me for 3 weeks. But the second he texts me about his music channel, I'm on it. So if it's important, I respond quickly. Vincent says, so Columbus selling every one of Calgary tanks. Those two teams. Man, you really think Calgary would even pick up the phone? They would legitly, like my shtick about Bill Zito having a burner phone, that could actually be accurate if he tried to call Calgary. You know what I mean? Who would we want from them? And don't nobody say Huberto or Uyghur. Don't nobody say that. Colin, yeah. One thing about this team is they stick up for each other. Yep, exactly. Despite still running into our own goalie. Exactly. Chris says, Jaws, Bob has been consistent lately. How are you feeling about that contract these days? Hey, look, I mean, it's hard for a goalie to live up to a $10 million contract. Okay. He's pretty much living up to it now. Now, you'd like to say win a cup and you live up to it, but let's be honest. Without Vezina Bob last year, we're not in the finals, okay? I mean, the dude won some games with saves that just, you had to wonder if it was a video game and it was glitching out. So, yeah, I look, I want to extend him at 5, not at 10. But you guys know I've talked about that. I want to extend him at 5 per. 2 more years. 2 more years of Bob. Bubba says we can get Huberto and Uyghur from Montour. They got to retain for no. Well, look, okay. I'll take Huberto and Uyghur from Montour. But we flip. First off, Calgary has to take all of the salary. Second off, we immediately flip Uyghur. He doesn't even put on a jersey. I do not want him on my defense. Okay, and then Bark or Huberto, where are we going to put him? I guess he'd be better than Nick Cousins next to Lundell and Luosterainen. But then again, they got to eat all the salary. They got to eat all the salary, man. Put Uyghur as a winger. Bob, you're not wrong there. You're not wrong there. Vincent says Sharanagovich. Yeah, you mentioned that before. But do you think they would do it? What would it take, Vincent? Who would we have to set? Vincent, talk me into it because I don't know that player well enough. So who would we have to send away, and what would he do for us? What's the need that we have that he fills? Wolver says, I wonder who was the seller and who's buying at the deadline. The Flyers give me buyer vibes. The Canucks give me the same vibes, and the Panthers give me sell and buy vibes. We got to sign Reinhart first to know exactly. You know what I mean? Because that's really going to be the spot. Hey, Nick, I see that. I appreciate that, brother. Saying right back at you. Here's the thing. You sign Reinhart. Okay. All right. That's done and out of the way. Now, Zito has to make a decision. If he knows that we're not going to be able to sign Montour, he's called Montour, and Montour's like, I want $7 million. And we're like, out. No, can't do it. Okay. So if Zito knows that we can't re-sign Montour, then he has two choices. He can A, ride with Montour and hope we win the cup this year, or B, move Montour to possibly fix that spot on the third line if they're not going to roll with Samoskevich. That's a tough decision to make because you're subtracting chemistry from the locker room and adding in a new player. Now, if that new player was somebody that had already been here before, you could maybe make that argument. But before we can know what we're doing, you got to get Reinhart locked up, and then you know the rest of the money that you've got for everybody else. All right, let's see. Let me take a sip of water here. Vincent says Calgary has a new management. The trade itself was fine. The fact that the ex-GM gave them money and ran away is their own family drama. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Trey, I don't want Uyghur back, not even for 3.4 seconds. Oh, that ain't right. I don't even want to think about that. I don't even want to think about that, man. Kenneth says, who's the backup goalie for the Panthers next year? I don't know the update on Knight unless you can provide one, but do you just keep Stolars at 1.1? Again, there's almost the same answer. We got to sign Reinhart. We got to know what we're doing with Montour. We cannot sign Reinhart, Montour, Forsling, upgrade, keep OEL, keep Stenlin, keep Spencer Knight. There's just no way to keep all of those guys. One, somewhere along the way, is going to have to go because OEL is going to want a little bit of a bump. Stenlin's going to want a little bit of a bump. Personally, I would move on from Spencer Knight, extend Bob for an extra 2 years, lock up Stolars as the backup, and use Spencer Knight's money to distribute to the rest of the Stenlins and OELs and Lombergs and everybody else that needs a contract and a little bit of a bump. That's what I would do because you're in the cup window now. What happens in 3 or 4 or 5 years when Bob is done and all these guys are now in their mid-30s, that's when Spencer Knight would really be ready to take the reins. Bob ain't going anywhere. So to me, I would solve all of the cap issues that we have as a team by moving Spencer Knight. Even if you got to give him away because you gave him all that money. It sucks. I don't really, in quote, want to, but that one move could solve a lot of problems for us. That's personally what I would do. All right, how'd Raven got banned? What did Bennett do? I tell you what, one thing that I do notice, because I saw this the other game when I had to watch the Devils on ESPN Plus, but you guys got to watch it on Bally's. The difference in not just, obviously we know that Goldie and Randy are going to be homers. We love them. That's fine. But the difference in the replays that Bally's will show you versus what ESPN will show you. ESPN is going to show you whatever they need to show you to continue the narrative that we're a dirty team, et cetera, et cetera. Bally's will show you what happened before something else happened. They'll give you some context. And if it's bad, Randy will always say, yeah, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. But I think that's a big part of what goes into why we watch our team and we're like, What is everybody bitching about? ESPN, the way that they run their broadcast, if it's a replay that is going to show that the Panthers really didn't do anything or et cetera, they won't show it. The people watching ESPN are not, they're not seeing that. And vice versa. The people watching Bally's aren't seeing, like, if Raven is, well, let's say you saw the clip on Twitter. Bennett tried to cross-check Letang in the head. Well, did he try to do it or did he do it? And I get the spirit of it, but did he try and miss? Was it soft, or did he do it? Because, I mean, I'll call things out but to rewind that, Raven, and I know that you're not saying this or anything like that, but when that happened with Barkov, Letang's no dummy, whether it was intentional or not. He knows this is hockey. The other team is going to act as though it was intentional. So what Letang needs to do, or somebody on Pittsburgh needs to do, and what the refs need to allow to happen, is what we saw at the beginning of the Arizona game. Two guys drop their gloves, dares to fight, 5-5, and it's done. That shit got out of hand last night because every time the Panthers would go after somebody, they're bear hugging the Panthers and pulling them away, and nobody on Pittsburgh would drop the gloves because they were more interested. They wanted that to continue. They wanted it because they were getting power plays out of it. But if somebody's talking from a pure perspective of not wanting the game itself, if they don't have if they're not a Penguins fan or a Panther fan, and they're just talking about the game itself not getting out of hand, the referees just have to let a couple of the guys just go. Get it done and over with. Have your scrum, right? And then it's done and over with. Raven says, yeah, he missed and he hit the shoulder neck area. I had to see the clip. I mean, Raven, I trust your analysis there. You're not trying to bash Bennett. I understand that. I haven't seen it. I had to see it. I'm honest when I think somebody did something wrong, and then I'm honest when I think they call, like what Gabranson did to Cousins, man. You can't do that. You know what I mean? You want to have a fight, you want to have a fight. Now, Cousins probably should have fought him, okay? So I can say that too, right? But you can't just come and cream a guy who's not even looking at you, from behind in the boards. Bubba, I have an answer for that. Bubba wants to know, how have teams not made any adjustments to the bumper play to Reinhart? Well, they haven't been able to do it with Tampa, with the Stamkos, Kucherov, and Point, that bumper play. I mean, Tampa won 2 cups doing that, right? Nobody could stop that play. If the puck movement is quick enough, okay, you can't. It's not stoppable by the defense. The goalie has to anticipate, and if the goalie starts to anticipate, right? How especially with it being Tkachuk behind the net, since it's Tkachuk, and usually it's Tkachuk, Barkov, and Reinhart. Tkachuk behind the net adds an extra element to it, because if you don't respect the fact that if you cheat even a little bit towards Reinhart, right? If Barkov sends it to Tkachuk behind the net, if that goalie even blinks and gives an eyeball towards Reinhart, Tkachuk is going to wrap that sucker around and put the puck in the net. So the goalie has to pay full attention to Tkachuk. He can't give it half and half. He can't halvesies it. So as soon as that puck's out going to Reinhart, Tkachuk is such a good passer. It's right on the tape. Reinhart can just one-time it. He doesn't have to hold it for a second. That's tough on the goalie, and Reinhart is hotter than a freaking pistol right now. So there really is no solution there, because if you even just play it a little bit, if you pretend like I know he's going to pass it to Reinhart, Tkachuk's going to wrap it around and bury it in the net. Let's see here. Vincent says, Bennett is a raging bull. It's kind of fun until it's too much. He has no off switch. Hey, look, I agree with you, Vincent, about Bennett. But I wouldn't want to change him. I wouldn't want to change him. It's tough to get him to dial it down, right? And yeah, against Vegas, it's tough. Um, I don't disagree about Bennett, but that's the style. It's hard to, it's like telling Marino not to go deep. You know what I mean? You just have to live and die with it. Lewis says, is it me or prefer to defend tier one teams in the NHL? Example, Toronto, Pittsburgh, Vegas. I mean, it does happen. It does happen. Frank says, on the Cats and Bowls podcast hosted by Rod Peterson. Yeah, I saw that. He says they talk about the refs getting worse, and it's true. Yeah, it's been I'm a little bit concerned about the refs giving us a little bit of a harder time. But talked about this also, right? I mean, if you look at how a lot of these games are starting, a lot of these games, it's not us that's starting the physicality. It's other teams wanting to get the jump on us getting physical. In the games where the other teams have not been physical, we're not either. We're skating them to death. And I believe that that's the kind of that's the way that the team is trying to play a little bit more. We're skating them to death as rather than, just being all rough and dirty every night. It'll be interesting to see how that gets played out into the playoffs. The one example last night being Lundell, we got to have better discipline. You know what I mean? I love that the guys are sticking up and I love that attitude. But Lundell taking that swing, man, that you kind of have to be careful about a little bit. All right, let's see. I'm going to go from the bottom up here. It says, random question: are there wild bears where I live? No, not on this side not on this side of the bay. On the other side of the bay with the mountains and everything, yeah, there's bears. Worst thing we got around here is coyotes, but they just puppy dogs around here. Bolvar says, as long as refs continue to screw the Leafs, there's no problem. The refs are good. Oh, yeah, Bubba says, good analysis. Makes me think how hard it is to be a goalie, but you are Vezina Bob. Vincent says, by the way, Barkov sometimes forgets he's in a hockey ring and he's not prepared to take a hit at all. How many times he got injured and weird falls around the board last few years? Yes, Vincent. Yes. I agree with the people that watch that and are like, Letang didn't do anything. I mean, they kind of just like barely grazed each other. I agree with that. I completely agree with that. But the players aren't going to really realize that until, it just all got out of hand. Look, let's not pretend that Nedeljkovic didn't take his paddle. And who did he trip? Was it for Hagee or Luosterainen as he was skating away from the net? He just right in front of the referee. I mean, let's not pretend like Pittsburgh was just out there with skirts and roses in their hair, okay? It was both teams going at it. Pittsburgh's desperate. And that was a great hockey game last night. Hey, Frank, thank you, Frank. Thank you, buddy. He says people are such goons complaining about Barkov went down easy. If that was Crosby, how do you think people would react? Well, I see both. Frank, I don't think he went down because of Letang. Like, I mean, they barely even touched each other. If you watch, I watched the replay on Bally's. And from what I saw, Barkov's front skate was coming up off of the ice before he even made contact with Letang. That said, the retaliation, the players on the ice in that moment, they're not going to squabble over that fine line, whether it was or whether it wasn't. They're just going to go and stick up for their teammate, and I'm fine with that. What I'm saying I'm fine with is the people later on saying that, Letang didn't have intent to injure. I don't think that was any kind of intent to injure. I don't know why Barkov pulled up that way, the way that he did. It was awkward and odd. The whole situation was, I think, what happened. And I don't know where I heard this, but what might have happened was, and again, I don't know why Barkov would think this. Rodriguez got tripped, right? And so I don't know if Barkov thought for a second the play was over, that the ref had blown the whistle. I don't know why he would have thought that, because the puck was not in Pittsburgh's possession just yet. So, you'd have to ask those guys the intricacies of all of that, but it's all happening at light speed. And I have no problem with any of the way that it went, with the exception of there were some penalties that the penalties that we got called for were penalties. They just was, right. But there was a few things that Pittsburgh was doing. The refs are not stupid. They're out there watching the game at the same time. They know that a lot of what the Panthers were doing last night was retaliation for some of the things that Pittsburgh was doing. They just wasn't going to call Pittsburgh for it. So that was kind of my issue there a little bit. But we got the 2 points anyway. And I like those kind of games anyway, where it kind of looks like everything's going against us. I mean, 8 power plays is 8 power plays, 2 double minors, right? And then Ekblad, jeez. Can we talk about Ekblad now? Because it's 3 games straight. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. For a while, when I was praising him, it was working. It was playing better. That's 3 games in a row now, including the one last night, which was an obvious trip, right? With what, like 4 minutes left or something? He trips the guy. What is he doing, man? That's 3 games in a row. And yeah, that wasn't a skinny call. He tripped the dude. He just flat out stuck his stick in there. And then he complains, right? He's like, whoa. It's like, Aaron, dude, come on, man. You stuck your stick in between his legs, and the dude fell. Of course it's tripping. All right, Nick, appreciate that. It was Samoskevich that got tripped, not Erod. Okay. Yeah, iDog says Penguin fans complaining about the refs and Panthers playing dirty. It's hilarious. Hey, look, I've shared that story with you guys before. Last year during the Boston series, I didn't even know that narrative existed. And then I watched the low-quality Bruins fan, good guy, not complaining about him. But that narrative that we were a dirty rat team had long been established by the time I found that guy. And I was just like, it's kind of like, I got to say this slow, but it's kind of like when you're in a relationship, right? Right. And then all of a sudden you find out there's like this laundry list of shit that you're in trouble for, that you had no idea was that you would either A, had done that, B, was a problem, C, what, that was 6 months ago. That's how it was when I found out that we were called the dirtiest team in the league. It was just kind of like, wait, what? I don't understand it. Now, we do have a couple of players that will take it to the next level, but I think I might have hit the nail on the head a little bit this morning with the teams that are complaining, the fans that are complaining are fans of teams that continue to get bullied out of the playoffs. True. But it's true. Frank says a lot of the penalties on Ekblad have been shit calls. In the previous 2 games, half of them were. But the one last night, I mean, he stuck his stick right in there, Yeah, then they bring up stuff you barely vaguely remember us arguing because you're bored. Exactly. Vincent says it just shows when it's a serious game and the opposing team is pressing hard. Ekblad is not an NHLer. He can't stay with 8 players, but at the same time, he's the first one to rush in an attack. It's interesting, Vincent. I had thoughts in my head when similar-esque to that last night when it happened, but I'm consciously trying to just not give him such a hard time that I kind of sat on that and ate it. You know what I mean? If he's in position, if the player is approaching him, he is a solid NHL defenseman. If he is behind the player, he is Mike Matheson. He's like if Mike Matheson had a baby with Keith Yandel. If he has to chase the player, even in a tight spot like it was last night behind the net, as soon as he's chasing, the magic wand is coming out, and it's bad. And Bubba was red hot last night. Yes. Let's see. Idog says Cousins isn't on IR and Gudis isn't on the team anymore. Who else they want to complain about? Bennett, and then of course Kachuk is always, and they always complain about Kachuk, right? And hey, look, let's put it this way. How can I put this? I don't want to get off on a tangent, but how can I put this? There's a way that I want to say it, and I really can't say it. But let's just say calling the hockey players dirty is similar-esque to when people use the ist word in politics and they don't like what you say. Sure, you're an ist, whatever ist or obic that you are. You see what I'm saying? Whatever in front of that, right? It's kind of the same thing when in sports. That is, instead of saying those words, is, well, you're dirty, you're a rat. You know what I mean? And it's not like these guys are going out there purposefully trying to injure guys. Okay, on rare occasion does it look like that. And even in hindsight, like I'm sure, Gabranson, like what Gabranson did should surely be interpreted as intent to injure. And I'm sure as soon as the testosterone wears off and he takes a shower, he's like, shit, man, I probably shouldn't have done that. I was just angry. I was mad. I was in the moment. You know what I mean? So it's just like the whole thing with the players are dirty. It's just some players are rougher and tougher than others. And there's a portion of the fan base of the NHL fan base, it just doesn't want that stuff in the game. And then there's the old school people like me that are like, yeah, you should have watched hockey this is like, I'm not saying it's soft, but compared to the way hockey used to be, yikes, they would not be able to see what hockey used to be. Yeah, no doubt that there are dirty players out there, but I still don't feel like, okay, like Kucherov, okay? Stu used to call Kucherov like dirty. I thought he was just like, I take him on my team. You know what I mean? I take him on my team, and the same thing happened with Gudis. Everybody hates Gudis until he's on their team. And then you're like, I like this guy. I like the element. Yeah, we're tough, because those are the teams that win. Like I said this morning, those are the teams that win. When's the last time? And this is a legitimate question because I'm sure this is not 100% across the board. But when was the last time a soft team won the cup? When was the last time a team that was just all offense, like the Panthers in the President's Trophy season, where it was all offense, run and gun, we didn't want to hit, we didn't want to play physical? When was a team, this is a legit question, I'm not saying it's never happened, but when was the last time a team like that won the cup? You think Colorado in 22? You think so? I don't know. I think there would be some people that would say, all right, well, Bubba says the Avs. All right. They were all offense. Select says there weren't any that won the cup. Chad says the Blackhawks in 13. Blackhawks in 13? Maybe. I'd have to look at that roster. Yeah, the Avs. Vincent says Colorado are monsters. Every time we've played, here's what I'll say. I'm not an expert on those teams, so I'll let you guys have that debate because I asked the question. What I know is that when we had played the Avalanche in those years, we would get out physical. You know what I mean? They were just too much for. Not in the same way. But their size on defense, you know what I mean, was a problem for most teams. I think that was part of it. They were so big, they didn't have to be quote dirty. You know what I mean? Like we're not a big team. We're a tough team, but Ekblad, I think, is our biggest guy. Well, Mikkola now, right? Height wise, I'm talking about. But even Gudis is, I mean, he's a tough guy, but it's not like he's, it's not like he's 6'6", 250 or something. Kenneth says, when I think dirty players, I don't think Panthers would think like Marshawn, Avery, Wilson. Right. Frank says Kadri was on Colorado, but they play physical and hard. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Colby says, Chad, did I tell Eric what the stupid Sabres fan said? No, I didn't see. No, I didn't. Did he or did he not? Did I miss the thing? Let's see. Sunswine says people hate the Panthers now for setting the tone and laying down the grip before they hated them for being soft. Exactly. Some Sabres fans said that we should trade Chucky for Powell. Oh, come on now. That's good for a laugh. Nick says, compared to the 60s through the early 90s, the game is soft as a baby's ass. Yeah, I know you, but he wasn't joking either. I think that's the point, Chad. Oh no, Bubba says the Flames are dirty. Huberto and Uyghur are rats. We've reached our peak. Yeah, okay. I beg to differ. Look, again, I'm not making predictions, right? I'm not making predictions, but all I can say is that I feel real good about this team. I genuinely feel like we're going to get to the playoffs, and us, the fan base, we're going to watch what we see, and we're going to be like, oh shit, they've only been given like 50% effort all year. I really feel like they learned how to win last year, and for the most part, they're just kind of just been like coasting inside of games. Like, how much effort do we have to give to win tonight? All right, it's a 2-1. We got a 1-goal lead. Shut it down. I really feel like we're going to get to the playoffs, and even us, who's been watching the team and know what they're capable of, are going to be like, oh crap, we just took it up 3 notches. I think they've got another level that maybe we haven't even seen yet. That's in the gut. That's in the gut. Let's see. Sunshine says, well, what makes them hate us is the Panthers being relevant and prominent team. Yep. Yeah, exactly, Mike. Florida's in the mind of the trolls. We've come a long way. It's very true. Boy, we went from everybody's favorite little, oh, I hope you guys make the playoffs. I can't tell you how many comments the first 3 or 4 years of this channel that I would, and they were being nice. They were being genuine. The people were not being sarcastic. They weren't being dicks. A lot of Canadian fans, were genuine. Like, hey, I like your videos. I like the Panthers. I hope they do well. It'd be good for the fan base. It'd be good for the league. I hope you guys do well. I don't get those comments anymore. I don't get none of those. I like the content. That one I still get, but I don't get any comments from well-wishers. I can't remember. not anymore. Oh man, no, that completely changed. Chris, how far did I predict the Panthers would go this year? Well, I didn't make a prediction. Because if you read the book, you'll understand why. I made my prediction and I got it wrong, and I got it close to right. I got it damn close to right, but I didn't get it right. And Raven, if he's still in here, can vouch for this, because we had a couple of private conversations, and he warned me, dude, leave some in his own way. Basically, what he told me was leave some emotional room in case the Panthers don't win. And I said, brother, I can't do it, because if I leave any room in my heart or mind that I think this team might not win the cup, I will blame myself for not having the full faith if they don't win the cup. So this year, yes, I predicted. James, let's put it this way. I did a video saying how I thought things would lay out. You could call it a prediction, but not in the same sense as what I did last year. Last year in September, I came on and I just said, I don't care what any of y'all say, Panthers are winning the cup. That's how it is. I mean, that's almost like literally what I said. So it was different. That was a gut feeling. That was a completely different situation than this year of me making a video saying, okay, this is how I think, things will go. You know what I mean? Because I completely 100% emotionally invested in and then winning last year. And one thing I've never watched, and I probably should, is the second period of Game 5 for the live stream. Because I know when it was 2-1 and I still believed and we made it 2-1 in the period and then it was 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6. It was just over. And I've watched all the happy reactions and everything like that, but I've never sat and watched my face as they were just piling up those goals and the season was obviously over. So that's interesting. I've just thinking about that now. That might be something I want to go back and watch that just for my own torture, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why I would want to watch that, but I feel like I should. During the All-Star break, I'll probably crank up that live stream and yeah. Mike says the best overall NHL teams with a team identity usually make the playoffs. Then more often than not, they succeed in the playoffs, and the most healthy one of those teams is the last one standing. Yes. And that's I think you're exactly right there, Mike. And to that point is why I think they're trying to do their best to coast through the regular season. Because what they learned last year was that, okay, when they turn it on and they're healthy, good luck to some other team beating them in 7 games. Okay. But they learned that, you can't play that style from January to June. Eventually, your body is going to break down on you, and it happened. So I think that you're correct there, and they recognize now that, okay, they have all the confidence in the world that when they turn it on in the playoffs, boom. Now, I'm not saying we're going to sweep everybody, all right? But I'm saying the team has the confidence. I guarantee you, to a man in that locker room, if you ask them, they're like, no, we're going to win the cup. They would almost have the same attitude I had last year. We're just kind of like, we're going to win the cup. Have you seen this locker room? Look at our goaltender. Look, we're winning this thing. You know what I mean? That I'm sure that's the confidence that they have. And so that, that's why you're going to see games last night. To me, you guys can correct me if you think I'm wrong here. But what I saw last night in the first 10 minutes of the game was Pittsburgh kind of bringing it. And I kind of got the vibe from our guys that it was like, come on, we got to do this. We got to be physical. Like, I didn't feel like our guys came out wanting that kind of a game. And then Pittsburgh did. And so we obliged them. But I didn't get the feeling like we came out trying to set the tone in the beginning. That's what I thought I saw. You guys can tell me if you think I'm wrong. All right, what do we got? Lewis says, I want a t-shirt saying we are the dirtiest team in the league. Like Carolina with a bunch of jerks. That's a good point. Kenneth says Vegas in round 4 was just too tall of a task with all the injuries and the energy they exerted. Yeah. Well, apparently, because Ekblad said this, I forget where it was, but it was recent. He had gone into the finals with the torn labrum. He said he was managing that, but then he tore his oblique during the finals. And he said at that point, he basically, all of these guys, Ekblad, Montour, Kachuk, Lustrina was out. Bennett and Gudis, was it Bennett? I mean, there was at least 3 guys playing with injuries that should have been like out for 3-4 months. And like I think Bennett and Guders were playing with injuries that were like at least a solid month. And so hey, look, we learned a lesson. You can't play that style of hockey from January to June. But come March, I think we'll be in good shape. So Rosado, who's calling us dirty? Just go to Trey. Just go to Twitter, go to YouTube, go to YouTube comments. Go to Twitter. It's the usual suspects. It's nothing new. The only difference is that was new was that it irritated me enough to make a video. Really, you know what I mean? I felt irritated. The wheels, the verbiage in my head. I was talking to myself in the head, and I was like, why don't I just set up the camera and talk to you guys instead, right? So, Chris says, not making a prediction. We can't do that. So I'm just here to say I feel optimistic. Exactly. Yep. Kenneth, you feel attacked. No, you're good, man. You're good. Look, here's the thing. If there's even a difference, I'll even differentiate between this. Okay. There's those of us who think the game should always be the way it was last night. And then there are some people that will say, oh, they're over here. It's dirty. These people are dirty and it should be taken out of the game and hearings and everything like that. And then there's the middle of the road people that'll be like, I think that was kind of dirty, but that's hockey. As long as somebody is understanding that what we saw last night, I mean, what you saw what Biz, you guys saw what Biz tweeted, right? You know, that's a hockey player. I hardly ever agree with what he has to say, but what he had to say was correct last night. He's like, if the league had 4 more teams like the Panthers, he says, I haven't watched one bored period yet. Now, we've streamed every game. There's been a couple of boring periods. There's been a couple of them, but it's not bad. Usually, something happens in a Panther game that's very entertaining. And that's the point. That's actually one of the points in the video this morning I forgot to make. Sports entertainment. Isn't that right, Trey? Right? Sports entertainment. Sports entertainment. It's supposed to be entertainment. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to make you go, hey, what? Whoa. You know, it's supposed to elicit an emotion, right? That's what it's there for, right? You know, and fan, right? Short for the word fanatic. So no, we're not going to tone down the game. We don't want to tone down the game. The game has been toned down enough, right? And it's kind of a joke, but it's kind of true. If you want soft sports, go watch football. Good God. I mean, seriously, you can't breathe on the quarterback. It's bad, especially if the quarterback's name is Patrick. Jeez. So people used to call the Ducks dirty, right? On Dangle's podcast. Yep. All right. Oh, wow. We're almost at an hour. Jeez, this is good. I appreciate you guys coming out here. Okay, let's see. Mike says, got an answer to your question the other day. Where do Leaf fans get their confidence? Leafs are one of the richest organizations next to the Rangers, highly relevant, important to the league's financial success. Okay, I can run with that. I can understand that. That part I can certainly understand. I mean, look, let's face it, right? You know, they have by far and away the biggest fan base. Just look at Dangle's channel, right? And that's what you were saying. They constantly remind the viewer of this on Dangle's podcast. Right. All right, I can understand that. I can certainly, that part I can hear. See? I'm amicable. I'm pliable. What? All right. Hold on a second. I'm going to show you what I got here. Hopefully this doesn't break the camera. All right. Fluffy says it's been an hour and he wants his lunch. Huh? This poor guy. Jeez. I can get him up the stairs and everything, but I have to help him up. There's a one-step stoop to the front door And I tried to let him do it this morning by himself, and he literally fell flat on his face. The poor guy can't go up one step by himself now without me lifting up his rear end. So, but once he's up, he can trot and run around and everything else. I mean, he's totally fine. But getting up from a sitting position or walking upstairs, he needs a hand up his ass for me to be able to do it. So that's okay. He's 10.5, right? It'll be all right. Huh? Well, he can't go until the Panthers win a cup. That's the deal that we've made. So they need to win a cup soon, because otherwise I'm gonna have to get a grocery cart and a ramp and pushing them around because yeah. All right, that's enough of that. All right, everybody, that's gonna do it. Kyle and I will be live in 6 hours, right? The game starts, I think, at 7:30, so I think we go live at 7. So yeah, Kyle's coming down in March. I'm going to have a video out about that so that we can start to prepare and everything like that. Talk about where we're going to meet and everything there. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me. We did a whole nice long hour today. This was fun. This was good. We're going to do it again tomorrow. We're good. We're good for noon tomorrow. We'll see you tonight on the stream. And then I don't know. Maybe that's what I should do, is just find something every morning to get pissed off about and do a 3-minute rant, give you guys some extra content to wake up to. Maybe that's what I need to do. Wake up. I woke up it's weird because I wake up in a good mood and then I see it online and it irritates me. And that's what gets me to do if I already am irritated, I'm already irritated, right? But when I'm in a good mood and I get irritated, then we get videos like this morning and the one where I was like, don't trade Lundell. And here's this deal for Kachuk that Zito obviously watched. So, all right. Let me get him some lunch. Appreciate all the support, everybody. And I'll see you guys again tonight.